Let's talk a little bit about the process of handicapping Vegas lines and projecting players for a league that hasn't played a game yet, because I found that to be a fascinating exercise in probably futility, but it was fun to go through it all the same. Sean, how how are you projecting things? Like, just kind of talk through the process.
So from, like sports betting, point spread and total, you really can't. I would say it's mostly subjective right now. The tricky part of mathematical modeling, you do need data, and we don't have that. But nobody does. That's the beauty of this, is nobody really has an edge. So the market can be exploitable. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to be betting many futures at all. And week one, I'll be a little bit more cautious. I think when we get to like week two, once we have 1 week of data and film, I think you'll see people probably overreact or underreact. I think the key is just heading into the season, kind of have priors. We'll talk about each team, just an overall view. I think, things like coaching and the quarterback will be the two most important things heading into the season. So we'll touch on those. And then I think from there, it's just updating our priors after week one. If the Kansas City Chiefs lose week one of the NFL season, we don't overreact so much. We know they're good. But if, the Tampa Bay Vipers, I think they are, if they happen to lose week one, our priors can't be that confident to begin with. So we can update them a little bit more drastically than we would say the Kansas City Chiefs, who we're familiar with. So I think the unfamiliarity, we're going to want to assume teams are more average than not, at least to start. I think that's the way I'm going to approach it.
Raybon, how are you approaching this?
Yeah, kind of the same way. I think with the priors, it just comes down to, you want a kind of league average number for yards per attempt and yards per carry and plays per game and all that good stuff, which that's one of the hardest parts, because I think, with this little 2 minute kind of comeback period, they're calling it, where teams would probably be passing for most of that. That could kind of create some volatility in terms of the projected plays. But yeah, I'm kind of approaching it the same way. I'm looking at for quarterbacks, just how many passes they completed in college, or if any NFL, any AAF action they may have had, and just kind of basing it off that, and kind of what we know about from our NFL modeling. Okay, how many, what the leading receiver for a team, what percentage of the catches does he usually get? What is the standard deviation between all of the different guys? So the next guy would get maybe 3 or 4% less, and so on and so forth. So it's just really a matter of kind of ordering these guys in terms of the depth chart and having league averages, and then you're just kind of you're not really deviating too far from the week. Like the difference between my best quarterback and my worst quarterback in week one is maybe like 0.3 yards per attempt or something like that. So you're trying to just be pretty conservative, just enough so that there's a difference between each of the players and the teams. But really, you're just waiting for more data to kind of update your model.
So a few thoughts on this. One is that I read an interview with Oliver Luck, the commissioner of the XFL, in which he said that in the scrimmages they did, there was an average of 173 plays. And not all of those were offensive plays. So, some kickoffs, 2-point conversions, whatever. But I'm thinking that there will probably be around 150-ish offensive plays per game, just because of the way that they have structured the rules with the shorter game clock and everything like that. So that is kind of an intriguing thing to kind of to go through the mental process of calibrating more plays per game. Does that necessarily translate into more points per game? If you look right now in the betting markets, I don't see anywhere a book that has released totals for this game. And if we look back a year and use our experience with the Alliance of American Football as some sort of guideline, their totals were horrendous for the first few weeks of the season. They were very much inflated, and they got killed to the under. And, within a matter of a month, they quickly adjusted their totals down. But for that first month, they were very exposed. And so I will be curious to see, one, where these lines come out if they actually do release totals, which I imagine they have to, but where those totals actually are, and then two, how exploitable those totals actually are for the first month or so of the season. I think if there's an edge to be had, it will probably be more on the totals and less with the spreads. But I could be wrong about that.